The narrator recalls that when she was about 12 years old, she lived in a small village in North Karnataka with her grandparents. In those days, transport facilities were not very good, so newspapers and magazines arrived late in the afternoon. The arrival of the bus was a big event because it brought letters, newspapers, and weekly magazines. At that time, a famous Kannada writer named Triveni was very popular. One of her novels, Kashi Yatre, was being published as a serial in a weekly magazine. The story was about an old woman who deeply wished to visit Kashi, a holy place believed to bring spiritual merit. The narrator's grandmother could not read, so every Wednesday the narrator read the latest episode aloud to her. In the novel, the old woman saved money for years to fulfill her dream of going to Kashi. However, there was also a poor orphan girl who needed money for her wedding. In the end, the old woman sacrificed her dream and gave away all her savings to help the girl. She believed that the happiness of the orphan girl was more important than worshipping at Kashi. The grandmother became deeply attached to the story. She identified herself with the old woman in the novel because she too had never gone to Kashi. Every week, she eagerly waited to know what would happen next. One day, the narrator went to attend a wedding in a neighboring village and stayed there for about a week. She enjoyed the freedom and fun of the celebration. When she returned home, she was shocked to see her grandmother crying. She had never seen her cry before. That night, under the moonlight, her grandmother explained the reason. The grandmother told her that she had lost her mother at a very young age. In those days, girls were not sent to school, so she never learned to read or write. She had always regretted it. When the magazine arrived during the narrator's absence, she opened it but could not read anything. She felt helpless and dependent. She said, "What is the use of money if I cannot be independent?" The grandmother then made a firm decision. She wanted to learn the Kannada alphabet and become independent. She set herself a deadline. By Dasara, she would be able to read a novel on her own. The narrator laughed at her 62-year-old grandmother for wanting to learn the alphabet. However, the grandmother confidently replied that with determination, any obstacle could be overcome and that there was no age limit for learning. From the very next day, the narrator became her teacher. The grandmother worked extremely hard. She practiced reading and writing every day with great dedication. Slowly but steadily, she improved. The narrator later realized that this was her first experience as a teacher. On the day of Saraswati Puja during Dashara, the grandmother called her to the puja place and made her sit on a stool. She gifted her a piece of frock material. Then she surprised everyone by touching her granddaughter's feet. The narrator was shocked and taken aback. The grandmother explained that she was not touching the feet of her granddaughter, but of her teacher. The narrator respectfully returned the namaskara by touching her grandmother's feet and gifted her a copy of Kashi Yatre, which had been published as a novel by then. The grandmother confidently read the title of the book and the publisher's name. The narrator felt proud because her first student had passed with flying colors. This story teaches us that there is no age limit for learning. Education gives us independence, confidence, and self-respect. It also shows that determination and strong willpower can help us overcome any obstacle in life. Education is true freedom. If you enjoyed this explanation and found it useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Learner's Deck for more such interesting lessons.